It's episode 9 of the Improv London podcast with this week's guest, Jacqueline Black.
This ain't gonna be easy.
Somebody's moving around.
Welcome to episode 9. It will come as no surprise to regular listeners to learn that I particularly enjoyed speaking to this week's guest. Jack and I talk about all sorts of things, including who is always going to be her first girl crush. We're going to hear about how she was set on the road to musical improv and how the Maydays helped shape her destiny at Osho Lila. We'll also talk a little bit about psychology, Fight Club and theatre sports.
I learned to improvise.
Taking tiles off the...
I think having a bath is the least that
The
a
least
partner
that-
can expect when a podcast is being recorded. I think
I know, well...
it would be churlish of me to deny cleanliness to anybody.
Well, and do you think maybe it would add a little something to the atmosphere to know that there's someone floating in a bathtub nearby?
I mean, I think I might find that quite distracting. But,
It's true.
You know,
It's true.
I was going to say I'm a professional, but I'm really not paid for this. Anyway. How are you?
Okay.
I'm good.
I'm going to take the traces off.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, we've already started
Yeah, I saw the clock moving.
because sometimes there's gold before we start recording,
And then you've lost it.
and then we've lost it. I mean, in this case, it hasn't. Really
I don't know,
happened.
talking about my husband going for a bath is not
that's quite
comedy
good.
gold.
Well, I don't know. That seems,
I don't know.
that seems
It'll,
quite.
it'll leave listeners with a sort of mental picture or something.
Yes.
I don't like to think what, but...
Well. No. Well. Yes.
Anyway.
I'm slightly flustered.
Oh,
That's
sorry.
marvellous. No,
Is
it's
that-
good. It's good. It's
Okay.
good. It's strange we get to talking about naked people this early on. Normally,
I didn't mention nudity.
oh, so
He has
bathes
his long
with
johns,
oh,
yeah.
I see.
No,
Right.
it's
Fair
fine,
enough.
yeah.
That's the thing. Right. Lovely.
We're very British in this household.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Maybe not.
So, what I thought we'd talk about tonight
Okay.
is anything you like.
Uh-huh.
But starting off with talking about improv,
Sure.
how you got into it,
Yeah.
what you like about it, what you don't like, all that sort of stuff.
Okay, cool.
So, how did you discover improv?
How did I discover improv? I've always done acting.
Mm-hmm.
I think I acted my first role when I was 3.
Right, and what was that?
It was Little Red Riding Hood, and I had the lead, and I sang in it.
Marvellous.
I know, precocious,
Well.
but yeah, and I had to fake crying. I remember as well,
Wow.
and actually I did it a bit too convincingly, and some of the mothers thought I had fluffed my lines and was actually upset about it.
I'm acting, darling, I'm
No,
acting, it's
but
alright,
it was
it's on the stage.
I was lost in the woods as Little Red Riding Hood, and I was in character.
Yes.
So there you go. I must have been reasonably convincing as a 3-year-old.
So you were very method, very much of that school
Oh.
from a very early age.
I don't know. I think there's certain things that you can fake quite easily when you're 3, and I think crying's probably one of them. The other one that I used to do was fall asleep when I didn't want to go somewhere. So it used in the 80s, when in my childhood, it was perfectly permissible to leave your kids in the car and go shopping in Sainsbury's or the equivalent of.
How times
And,
have changed.
I know how times have changed. You wouldn't even leave dogs in the car necessarily anymore. But I used to get very bored by shopping.
Fair enough.
And so when I was within a mile or two and I started recognising the signs that we were going to go into the supermarket, I started like faking really heavy eyes and like nodding off to sleep. And then even when my mum would like shake me to get out of the car, I'd just pretend that I was asleep. And I think, I don't think she was ever convinced by it. I think that she just gave up and thought, I can't be bothered, I'm just going to leave her here. So she just locked me in the car. And I had a great time. I enjoyed my own company, so it was ideal for me. And I have a younger brother who's a year and a half younger than me. I know younger brothers are pains really for their older siblings, so I was quite happy being in a locked car in a Sainsbury's car park while they trotted around the shops and did all that business. So that was the start of my acting, in my acting life, and I enjoyed it very much. And did all sorts of different productions throughout my life. And then there came a point where I always felt frustrated, I think, because I had to learn a script.
Right.
And I was always a slightly sort of paranoid person in that a script had a set words, obviously, and in a certain order to be said, and sometimes there were even directions as to how to say them. And I used to get so wound up about getting them correctly, speaking the words correctly, making sure that I didn't fluff them, because also there's the things that your lines are cues for other people, so if you don't get them correct, then it's messing it up for someone else. And it always had that added pressure that I didn't like, in that I didn't feel very free about portraying a character, because I always had to there was an element of it that always had to be correct in my mind. I'm sure there are other actors who just don't care whether they say the right things in the right order and all that sort of stuff, but for me, I felt like I would have been letting the site down if I didn't do it. So I was a member of the Actors Centre and had done some courses there, and I can't really remember which came first. It's kind of cart or horse, but at roughly the same time, I was lucky enough to do a day's improv with Cariad Lloyd in the Actors Centre, and I discovered Steve's Hoopla drop-in Balham, as it was at the time, on a Saturday. And Cariad's always going to be my first girl crush in improv. She's just wonderful. And it doesn't matter whether you've been doing improv for a long time or if you've literally just walked through the door. As a teacher, she gives you a lot of confidence that right from the start, you can be improvising, and and what you were doing is the real thing, the real deal. It's not like, and it was just a lot of fun this one day. So much so that I came back and did it again, with a different set of people. And I remember coming out of it thinking, there must be more to it. She must have put together some sort of really clever mix of games that made me think that I could do improv. But really there must be something more to it. But both times I went and I had a really great time, and I felt like we came up with really great creative stuff. And at about the same time, I was going to Steve's weekly drop-in, and Steve is really clever about his the way that he programs his courses as well. So when we went to the drop-in, there was always a theme or something interesting. And, he has all his background in clowning, and he would tell us really interesting stuff about all the roots of it in terms of the commedia dell'arte and all that sort of stuff. And again, it was just a lot of fun. And it was a completely different mix of people every time. And it was just, by the end of them, there's something chemical happens at the end of a class. It doesn't matter, like I said, it doesn't matter whether you've literally just walked through the door or you've been doing it 10 years. There is something that releases endorphins about improv, and that sort of camaraderie and all that sort of stuff is part and parcel of that, and it kind of makes you feel, for a little while at least, a bit superhuman. Like, we're coming up with Shakespeare stuff. This is the drama of the age, that's coming up, and it's in a very good way entirely disposable. So if it goes horribly wrong, as it has done for me on occasion, you still come away with that feeling of, I remember all the good bits. Yes. And on that scene that we did, it was really interesting, and this, that, and the other. Loved it from the start, I think, and I think that was down to the teachers that I had and have had, consequently as well.
Yes. Have you heard of Sarah Millican's 11 o'clock rule?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's if you're not allowed to beat yourself up about a show after 11 o'clock the next morning.
I think that's a wonderful rule.
It's a good rule, isn't
I think
it?
we
Yes.
should all adopt that.
We should all adopt that,
in
yes.
every walk of life.
Every walk of life. Well,
yeah.
sometimes there's times you should feel shame.
Well, not often though. I don't
Well,
think.
yeah, but if you've done something really bad.
What like? What have you done, Stuart?
I did some really bad improv on Monday.
Did you? Is that? It's after 11 o'clock on Tuesday though, so
I know,
you can't beat yourself up
I'm
about
not
it.
beating myself up about it
Okay.
anymore, but I
Yeah.
was like, it was in a jam, and I find jams really difficult.
Yes, they can. Yeah, they can be. I understand that. Yeah.
So I was like, that wouldn't have been good material if. Anyway.
Yeah, there's bad and there's really bad. I mean, I dug a complete hole for myself at the Edinburgh Festival. I was there this year with Wax Lyrical, and we were doing a set at the Nursery Theatre, their venue. And there was one night, we'd had some really great shows, and one night somebody gave the suggestion of Germany. And yeah, you can see where this is going.
Yeah.
Germany's a wonderful country with a wonderful history with lots and lots of different things.
Yes.
But almost immediately, I had endowed myself as being a Nazi commander of Auschwitz, and the person across from me is Goebbels, or Goebbels, however you pronounce it.
I think it's Goebbels,
and
but
then I started singing a song about how much I hated the prisoners. And I thought,
Whoa.
I used to be, I think I was better at improv when I started than when I've been doing it for a few years. But I think it happens to, I hope it happens to the best of us, that it takes a really clever person to get out of that.
Yes.
I've just started doing my solo show as well, an improvised audience with, which is a solo musical show where we every night we create a singing celebrity and the style that's singing and all that sort of stuff. And I thought I would do a Christmas special, and include like a charity song. And what I did is I got people to write down suggestions of what they think there wasn't enough charity songs about at Christmas. And you will never in a million years guess which card I pulled out and continued to sing about, rather than rejecting and going on to. What topic do you think wouldn't be very Christmassy?
Well, I'm the least Christmassy person ever, so most things.
Oh no, I'm talking about like the worst one that could possibly be picked out.
I'm going to. Oh no, I'm programmed as an improviser to yes and you. I can't hand it back. No. I have to. What's the least Christmassy thing?
Oh no, the worst thing the worst charity that you could raise money for at Christmas time.
Oh no, because there are so many terrible. It's got to be, if it's topical. Someone's got to have said ISIS.
Yes, that was it.
Okay.
And I did.
It's the new pineapple in improv suggestions.
Or spatula.
Yeah.
Except it's a bit
film
more.
Noir.
Yeah, a bit more potent in the whole thing. But that's the whole. The whole church has to be there. The whole choir has to be singing. So every suggestion has to be valid, doesn't it?
Yes.
Well.
Yes. Anyway, I'm going to yes that for a minute.
Yeah. You don't have to and it. You can just yes it. I think sometimes I know that I'm a bit timid about suggestions and things and going, I don't know. And then at other times I find myself digging, as I say, a massive hole for myself. And I'm hoping at one point, in my improv life, it will kind of even out so that I can take a hard, or what I deem to be a hard suggestion, like September the 11th or, whatever.
Yes.
And do something that is actually meaningful.
Yes.
And kind of, hopefully meaningful, and that people will think, right, okay, she handled that in a way that I feel good about.
Yes. Was this at Duck Duck Goose? Was this the...
Yes, it was, yeah. The story's already, the reputation has already preceded me.
No. I was just getting the facts.
Yes, that's right.
I was just trying to...
I know which improviser gave it to me as well, but I'm not going to say on air who they are. You know who you are.
Right, I don't know who that is, but that's fine. How did you deal with singing okay, what we should probably do is, for people who haven't seen it, explain how the format of the show is and how it works and what you do.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to know how you dealt with ISIS as a
Well,
topic.
probably not very cleverly, but anyway.
I have a suggestion for dealing with ISIS suggestions,
Do you?
by the way.
If it ever comes up again,
Yeah,
I will use
'cause
that.
it probably will.
Yeah.
This is a Jules Munn's suggestion because it came up at... Where did it come up? It was coming up in some conversation.
Yeah.
And apparently ISIS have much better promotional videos
They do. Yeah.
than say, Al-Qaeda.
Yeah.
I'm hoping this is what Jules said and it wasn't just a weird improv dream that I have. Because I have...
Do you have weird improv?
I have quite a lot of weird... Well, I think it's weird that I have improv dreams.
Yes.
They're not necessarily weird improv in the dreams.
Yeah.
But I do quite a lot.
Yeah.
And I think I get more value for money from the classes that I go to because sometimes I then experience them again in my dreams.
Oh.
When I was interviewing Jules for a previous episode of this,
Yeah.
I had a dream about interviewing him.
And did you come up with some really groovy questions?
Not really. No, it wasn't helpful in that way.
Okay.
But and the only other useful thing about dreams is I used to have those kind of panic dreams about being on stage and not knowing what the words were.
Yes, yeah.
But now, since having done improv, I now have the
Really?
skills to make some words up. So that's no longer an
Yeah,
anxiety dream for me. So that's solved that particular issue.
I've only ever had one improv dream that I can think, and it was recently because it was an anxiety dream about doing this solo show. This is the first solo show I've done, and first solo musical show I've done as well. And I just remember that one of my a composite of all my girl crushes, improv girl crushes, was telling me I was rubbish at improv, basically.
Oh no!
Which was kind of it was kind of upsetting, really.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't have a joke about that. That's just
it's
what it was.
It's all right because we can make the audience cry as well as laugh.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I don't think. Don't cry for me over my improv dream.
I think it's fine to feel these emotions, and there's going to be people listening going, "That must have been awful."
Yeah, some people might maybe have had that dream themselves.
Yes.
It might be like the forgotten that you've got an exam the next day dream, or usually when I have an anxiety dream, I did talk to some other improvisers about this, and I was surprised by how many of them also have this dream. Was I'm spitting out all of my teeth.
Oh, right.
So I don't know what that's about. I just worry about losing my teeth. Doesn't make me floss, but never mind.
We're learning lots tonight.
Yeah.
So explain for those who haven't seen the show. Explain the format of the show.
Right, an improvised audience with is my one woman show, and basically what I do is I spend a minute at the top of the show getting lots of information about the singing celebrity that is going to be manifest through me during the night. And so I get suggestions around the genre that they sing, that they're famous for. I get their name from the audience. I get all of their song titles that are going to be heard during the set from the audience. What else? I have like a little dressing up box, and I cast somebody in the audience as the wardrobe designer, and so they go through all the stuff, random stuff I've got in there, and choose the signature accessory of this person. And the lovely Mr. Tom Hodge accompanies me, and then we gather all that information. There's a bit of a transformation scene, and I turn around as the person and try and embody them. We do sometimes. It's been different. We've done it twice now. It's been different both times. Mainly, it's 3 or 4 songs that are all titles that the audience has given us that they're famous for. And my favourite song we've had so far that we started the first one with was The Safety Net of Being a White Middle-Aged Man, which was so much fun to sing about. And consequently I went on to discuss my religious beliefs. I'm a deeply Christian singer that night who believed that Jesus was a white middle-class man. So that all kind of tied up quite nicely. The important thing for me is really about the connection with the audience, and that it is their creation as much as it is mine.
Yeah.
So I'll sing songs around it and do this backstory. Done a bit of Q&A as well, and it's a lot of fun. Because you're learning as you go along as well, and that was what I wanted to kind of find for myself, I guess, because there's something slightly inherently selfish about improv. I mean, we do it a little bit for our own gratification, but I think most of us also do it because we want to entertain other people as well. How that split goes down, I'm not entirely sure.
So when you say selfish, what do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's no one who improvises who doesn't want to be seen, and to be, I don't know, liked or admired, for doing something that I think other people view as quite inherently difficult.
Are there not some people that take classes and never perform?
That's true. Yeah, that's true. But then I suppose it's a scalability thing as well, because I think people who take classes have a ready-made audience as well. It's not as if they're doing it in a darkened room where no one can see them.
Well, maybe they are, but we just don't know because the room is dark.
Well, that's true. Acting in the dark. It's like a single hand clapping, you know. Yeah. I think I use the word selfishly in a facetious way. Because I think actually out of a lot of performance disciplines, improv is an inherently unselfish thing because there's such an element of teamwork in it. But I think that doesn't negate the fact that we all like to be to get a laugh or to make people think or whatever your shtick is, you're looking for a human connection, and I think that in that way it is about you.
Yes.
Because it's your connection with the audience, your connection with your team members if you have them.
Yes.
Your connection with others.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. It's certainly why I do it, is to understand my connection to other people, and hopefully to get better at connecting with people as well. Yes.
So what inspired you to go solo? Was there?
Yeah. Sorry, that was a deep breath, wasn't it? I think
there's only so much stage.
Yeah, there's only so much stage time, and I want it all to myself. I think people. What I've noticed about the improv community is that there's a tendency amongst them to always be developing and pushing themselves a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I think that's true of me as well. I went to Osho Lila in spring of this year, and that was the first time I had been, and the first time I think they'd run it as a kind of a less of a pick and mix, try lots of things out, and more as a looking at you and developing you. And the Maydays are very aware and very astute at sizing people up and being able to celebrate what they are, the skills that they have.
Did they tell you that everyone else was holding you back?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, get rid of them.
Yeah.
Lose.
Mr. Munns told me that.
Did he?
Yeah. Backed up by Ms. Schutte.
Really?
No.
I was like, hey, I'm like super perceptive. I was like
super
I'm
perceptive.
super perceptive. I can just have to imagine them, and then I can just say their wisdom.
You were definitely channeling Mayday wisdom there. Well done. I think I did start talking about it at Osho Lila simply because I felt like that I find that scary, and at the end of the day, I think that's the best reason to do something.
But as long as it's not the only reason.
No, if it's the only reason, then quite frankly, you probably need to speak to a therapist. But if it's scary and exciting, and you have to kind of be a little bit in love with your idea. I mean, I'm completely besotted by my idea, and I feel like I'm just at the very beginning of it, and there's so many ways I want to develop it into something bigger. But I wouldn't be able to do that, I don't think, if people hadn't turned around to me and said, yeah, just go and do it, because you need to do it, because you've talked about this.
Yeah.
And I did, people look at me and don't think that I'm a shy person, but I think as even though I'm an extrovert in a lot of ways, there are still things that make me shy, and I think that's what's interesting about all improvisers as well. I'm probably making crass generalisations here, just based.
That's what our...
Yeah, I'm just waving. You can't see that Stuart's just waving his hand over all improvisers.
I'm absolved, yes.
in a sort of very Christmassy fashion.
Yes.
I think that I've forgotten what
you were going to generalise about all improvisers and
there's so many ways that I could have done
them.
it. No, because I think the interesting thing about the community, certainly in London, which is what I have experience of, is that it is a mixture of every single type of person. Yes. It's not all extroverts. There are as many people who, and I'm my background's in psychology, so brilliant. I don't use the words extrovert and introvert lightly. There are people who get their best ideas by running them out loud with other people, which is what extrovision is. Extrovision? Being extrovert.
It's a superpower.
And it's extrovision.
I've got extrovision.
Yeah, it's Star Wars. And then introverts, who are people who like to take an idea away and think about it before they talk it through with other people and maybe think of it in more detail. And they exist in every form in this wonderful performance art. And I think, for me, to find something that I was really scared of, that provoked an emotional reaction like that, I think more than anything else, quite unusual for me.
Yeah.
So I had to do it, basically. And it's taken me a while to build up my confidence to do it.
Yeah.
Because, I initially thought of the idea in February. And I didn't do my first performance until November.
Right.
So that's probably due to a bit of perfectionism on my part, and I didn't want to just chuck something out there, which I would totally advocate if you're willing to do that. That's a good way of doing it. I wanted to speak to different people. I wanted coaching and all that sort of stuff on the idea. So yeah, it's out there now. The monster is out of its cage. Pandora has opened the box, and I'm afraid it's probably never going to climb back in again.
Yeah.
There we go. In a good way, hopefully. Yeah.
So, how did you discover musical improv?
Musical improv was, I did the Maydays. I did 2 courses with Jules and Katy, and loved them the way that I had loved my introduction to it. I mean, musical improv is one of those things that you think with improv, right? Your brain's just overloaded now, and you just there's no possible way that it can get worse than this. And then you add music into the mix, and you're like, I am so overloaded that I am actually probably more productive now, because I'm a worrier, and with music, how does it sound? Is it harmonious to what's been on the accompaniment is doing? What are the lyrics? Are there going to be rhymes? What's the song structure? What's the character? What's their relationship with others? What's their backstory? There's so much going on that I just don't even worry, and it's so refreshing, because I'm involved with a few other groups. I got my in the Freeform team, Ripcord, and from next year I'll be doing theatre sports as well. Cool. So I'm looking forward to doing those things, and I think and that diversity, I think, is the great thing. But musical theatre, I had a vehement hatred of, actually. I thought it was all, excuse the phrase, tits and teeth, and I thought it wasn't very authentic or organic. But then I've told you about being 3 and being in a musical at 3. So some part of me has, some child within me thinks that music and characterization and all these other good things go together in some way. So that's kind of what kind of sprung me off in that direction. And again, I put it down in terms of getting the confidence up to do things to the teachers that we have. I mean, Joe's and Katy and you know, all of the different teachers over the years that I've, you know, been privileged enough to have always been building up that confidence. And I think it's interesting now because I think it's happening on a community-wide level. There are now large volumes of people who have gone to an improv class with whoever. You know, I've been to Spontaneity Shop, I've been to, you know, Free Association and all that stuff. And they're all inspiring people and making people confident. And I think that's half the battle, really. Yes. Because if people are confident, they'll try things out. Yes. Try things that they think are inherently dangerous, you know, socially embarrassing, or, you know, turning yourself into a Nazi and squashing Jewish prisoners, you know. It might be that nothing good comes out of it, but the fact that you've done it and you failed it, and then you try something else that isn't so socially unacceptable, and you think, well, that didn't go right, but at least it wasn't as bad as the time that I was a Nazi commander in Auschwitz. Oh, I'm just never gonna live that down, I think. I keep bringing it up as well. I should maybe just let it die. And then
maybe that's part of the guilt thing.
Yeah, a collective guilt, improv guilt over it. So, yeah. And it's also just a really exciting time to be in London and doing improv. I mean, having all of these great teachers coming over from America. Like I did the intensive with Susan Messing and Ms. Mason as well.
How was that?
It was amazing. Not least because there was such a mix of improvisers doing it.
Yeah.
You know, people of all levels were doing it, and I think the thing is that it breaks up what the norm is. I think, you know, sometimes Brits are accused of being a bit too talking head about it. You know, standing exactly 3 feet from each other and chatting as improvisers. And so you just need to get shaken up by someone whose background is not that, and who enjoys, you know, the physicality of it, or the scene work and all that sort of stuff. And honestly, I feel like a kid in a candy shop. You know, my eyes get bigger and bigger as I see all of these teachers that I'd love to, you know, spend some time with. I've been over to Chicago as well, to Second City, and I would love to go back and, you know, experience I.O. and the Annoyance, and, you know, go to Montreal and do all of these things. If anybody wants to sponsor me to do that, please just write into Stuart and he'll pass your details on. But that's it. You know, it's like, I guess it's all the best things of the greatest hobby, in as much as you do a bit and you just want to do more, and you just want to get better, and all that sort of stuff, and you want to be with people who are complementary to you, and have great team dynamics and that sort of stuff as well.
Yes. Yes, it's a sort of social activity that is very communal, and you feel that you get to know people more quickly than if you were doing something that was less interactive. So if you're going to an improv class, you're interacting with, you know, everyone there, and even though you're pretending to be someone else, it's still, I don't know, I still feel that you get to know people more quickly. And especially when you're doing musical improv, because that's because with the music there's the heightened emotion, and also there's the vulnerability of singing. I mean, how often, you know, in modern society, I think singing is frowned upon, and you know, I think so many people are told as children that they can't sing, and it's just, who gives you the right to tell a child or anyone that they can't sing?
No.
It's just, you know.
There's something inherently joyful about singing as well. And it's kind of like, even if you're singing a sad song, or you know, an angry song, or a negative emotion, almost every song has emotion of some quality in it, and I think there's something very cathartic about that. And I think that's another step on for me on my journey, my improv journey.
On a journey.
Oh, flutter. And it is that I can be quite a reticent sort of performer, I think. And as much as my default is to be stupid rather than express an emotion, and I can't get away with that musical improv.
No.
Because people expect songs to have an emotional quality. Mr. Jules once told me, or pointed out the fact that I was physically backing away out of a scene that I was uncomfortable with because it required some emotion. Actually, I had taken about 3 steps before he said stop. And it's true at some level. Improv can be deeply uncomfortable, and musical improv most of all, because of the element of all of those old ghosts of mean old teachers and all that baggage that we all carry through life, those horrible critical voices. But I also think it's an opportunity to face up to them and examine them, and say, right, okay, so my negative voice is telling me that I'm rubbish at this. Actually, my negative voice is saying things that I would never say to another person or another improviser.
Yeah.
So it gives you an opportunity, it's kind of like therapy in that respect. You have to examine those voices and say, do I really believe that I am as rubbish as Mr. Smith told me, when I was 7 years old at singing?
Yes.
No, I don't. And even if I do, it's a lot of fun.
Yes.
So boo sucks to
to
what's his name from when I was 7,
Yeah.
I think it's a cathartic sort of thing. I think improv's a kind of cathartic thing too.
Yeah, and even if you sing badly, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't.
As long as you commit to it, as long as you go for it, and the audience isn't worried about you. Someone singing enthusiastically but badly can be hugely entertaining.
They tend to steal the show.
Yeah.
I find that. I mean, I don't think I've ever come across someone who I would deem to sing badly.
No.
I in my mind, singing badly is someone who's not committing to it. You know. Some of the most riotous comical songs that I have heard have been people who have more or less been speaking, and then adding the occasional sort of note to it, and they have been fantastic. I mean, we've done musical improv courses together as well, and people can really steal the show, and people you wouldn't necessarily, from your past experience with them, know that we're going to steal the show. I mean, it's fascinating and surprising and wonderful in that respect.
Yes. And one of the things I like about it is that improv, it retcons my life in that there are all these periods of my life where I feel that I was wasting my time and I was unproductive. But it turns out that it was just preparation for improv.
I like that, yeah.
Because I...
Oh dear.
I'm just going to have a glass of water.
Do. Shall I cover for you?
Ooh.
Musical interlude. And he's back.
And I'm back. I was saying, I spent a lot of time failing to be in the band properly, and I tried to form bands, and they never really got anywhere. But it turned out that all that time I spent, trying to make up songs, actually turned out to be really good preparation for musical improv.
Yeah.
So it's all worked out.
I wondered about that, and this kind of feeds in. I know that there are discussions in various places about gender and improv and the split between that. And I think when I look at little kids, I see little boys get into, knowing 100 facts about dinosaurs, and getting into playing in what I deem to be on a par with that, in as much as they're never going to be in the field of dinosaurs, but they're acquiring skills by learning 100 different Latin names for Diplodocus or whatever it is.
Yes.
I don't know if that's right, but anyway. Whereas girls, I suppose, are encouraged towards more social. Well, certainly when I grew up, it was more sort of social skills in terms of you would make your dollies talk to each other, and you would be, I don't know, expected, not, so know that I'm digging myself another Nazi commander hole here, but when I was a kid, I used to play with like Cindy's and Barbies and My Little Ponies, and it would all be about looking after them, and I suppose practicing, I guess, what would be deemed a sort of maternal instinct, and looking after people, making sure everyone's okay, and that sort of stuff. Now, I don't believe for one second that all men are one thing and all women are the other. But it's interesting to me that my experience of improv has always been that there's been a pretty even split in London between men and women. Which
I think is so vital, because, and this isn't to disrespect any improv groups that are all male, I'm like, oh... Even before we've begun, it's like, really?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I guess, I'm not entirely sure what my point was, but I guess I've seen male improvisers, or I know this is their default for a couple of people, who are just really giving an emotionally connected and authentic improvisers, and I've seen female improvisers who can reel off very fine detail about whatever the suggestion is. If it's ancient Rome, they'll have at their disposal all these sorts of facts, which seems to play against the stereotypical roles that we're told are prevalent amongst children, which is interesting to me. And I think, for me, I certainly felt like I was, raised in terms of liking dollies and things like that. I wouldn't necessarily, I'm an extremely emotionally intelligent person, to be honest. Like, if you're upset, I might need some clues. But I find that I learn a lot from other improvisers who I deem to kind of transcend those gender stereotypes, both male and female, really. And I think, oh my god, I'm going to say it, I think it makes me a better person. There, I said it. Can I swear now?
If you like, yeah.
Oh, fuck it. Ah, dear.
Well, if we're not becoming better people, then, what ultimately is the point?
Well, yeah, what is the point? It feels like some sort of Monty Python-esque song should come in here. You're gesturing like I've got one in my back pocket.
Well, if anyone has, I'm sure it must be you.
Oh, pressure. I decline, sir. Thank you very much.
No, that's fine, because I have a thing about improvised or improv, recorded improv. I'm not really in favour of recorded improv.
Right. Which is why you've gone down the interview route.
Yes, because otherwise it would be a bit hypocritical.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what country does the biggest proportion of it, because it seems to becoming a big thing here in Britain, and I think it suits the Brits because of all those scenes that we've seen where people are 3 feet apart and having a discussion about something. And I mean, I grew up listening to my dad's tapes of the Goons, with Spike Milligan and Peter Sellers and things like that. And I think you can. It's totally feasible to do radio style improv, and make it super interesting. But that shouldn't be the extent of all improv.
No.
And even there, people have the opportunity to be pushing the boundaries a bit. I mean. Yeah. Involving technicians to do to drop in sound effects as suggestions and then going on. I think all that sort of stuff is really interesting.
Yes. Okay. I'm slightly revising my position.
Oh, great. That took no time at all.
Oh, no, you made a valid point, and I've
thanks.
considered it, and I'm not sure I agree yet, but I shall certainly take it.
Okay.
And, yes.
Yeah.
That's a good
I
point.
wish you could see Stuart's face at the moment. He's
yes,
kind
I'm-
of got his pipe in his hand and
Yes.
like his chin's all rumpled and his
yes.
brow is furrowed.
Yes, no, that's
This is definitely a scene that's better seen on stage because you're missing the 90% of body language that's going on. So, and that's the thing, isn't it? I think improv more than anything else taps into body language, and you lose that when you record it.
Yes.
So am I backtracking? I think no, I stand by my point.
Have we just swapped
think-
positions
yeah,
without any...
That was awkward. Yeah. Nuts. See, I think it just shows that we can play a devil's advocate maybe effectively.
Oh, I have an open mind on things. I'm prepared to be persuaded. There's some things,
Yeah, you seem like a type of guy that would be open-minded.
you know. I don't think I have all the answers.
No, I know that's true of all of us. I'm sure.
Well, some people think they have all
Well,
the
that's
answers.
true. They don't tend to be improvisers, though. Oh no, you name names.
No, I don't think they do. I don't know. Oh, I don't know.
Let's move on, shall we? Just in case we dob somebody in it now.
Right, you mentioned next year you're going to be doing theatre sports.
Yes.
What are theatre sports?
Right. I have slightly limited knowledge, so this might be totally embarrassing.
That's fine, because I really want people's perspective on what the things are rather than necessarily the dictionary definition of what they are.
Yeah, I might even be struggling with that. So this lovely lady called Faye has come back. Was it the UAE she's come back from? Oh, I do apologise. I don't know where she's come back from. Somewhere over there in foreign parts. And she came back, and she for many years has done theatre sports over where she was. Oh my god, this is getting worse.
Just commit to it.
Commit to it, right? Yeah, yeah. It's definitely the Middle East somewhere. And she came back and obviously wanted to continue this, and found that really there wasn't very much going on. And I think this is because they only grant one license ordinarily per country or city or whatever. And they had granted it to Spontaneity Shop.
When you say they, you mean...
I mean, the powers that be.
The powers that be.
Yeah, Faye will be able to tell you. there's like an organisation, because theatre sports is like a worldwide thing. And anyway, so theatre sports is basically, Keith Johnson was kind of inspired when he went to a wrestling match. And he thought, well, why can't improv be that sort of spectacle? Where you have teams and all that sort of stuff. So that's basically what it is. There are kind of it's a very kind of formulaic set of games to start off with. I mean, I think people have consequently adapted to them. But the idea is that there are kind of many levels of matches, from like the rookie one right up to the exhibition match. You have these games, and the teams basically challenge each other to say, I want a scene about the Holocaust, which obviously would be the one that I picked, or ISIS, whichever came first. And so and then they do one, and then the other team do one, and then there are 3 judges, so the audience can yell and shout and do whatever they like, but the judges make the decision about how the points go. And it just sounds a lot of fun, and it is something very different, I think, from what we've currently going on.
Yeah.
So it's not short form in the sense that it's all about making you laugh necessarily, but it isn't long form in the sense that you're building up a narrative or following a herald or something like that. You're doing scenes, and the scenes are self-contained. And they're a reaction to a challenge, basically. And then at the end of the night, you get a score, and somebody wins and somebody loses. So yeah, I'm looking forward to finding out more about it, because obviously I don't know enough.
No, that sounds like quite a lot.
So I've got my Christmas reading to do and all of that sort of stuff. And then I think we're going to be monthly from February in Miller. doing that and having
Cool.
showdowns.
Wow.
So I think it's about time, actually. Some of us have got beefs that we need to clear.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, maybe now. I mean, maybe
know.
the podcast is a good
Maybe
place.
I should trash talk some of the other
Yeah,
ones.
why don't you just talk some people? That's what
yeah,
it's all about.
Wow, yeah.
Who are you going to take down first?
Oh, I don't know. Like, what you can't tell listeners is that I'm sitting here in a unitard, and I'm
You
just
have me in a
been
headlock.
limbering up. Yeah, it's amazing you can speak as well as you can.
Well, that's
really.
why I was coughing earlier.
Ah,
That
oh,
was-
I'm sorry. Was it a bit
The
tight?
grip's a little tight,
You
yeah.
should have just said.
I didn't know
I
what
would
to
have
say. I
listened.
was just too polite. Just do English.
I told you I'm not emotionally intelligent, so if you can't breathe, I can't tell. You need to see.
So did you say that the so was it Spontaneity Shop that have the license?
They did, but they've granted a second one, which
Wow.
I think is quite unusual.
Yes.
So that we've got a second one because the first one's not actively being used.
Right,
I don't
okay.
think so. Yeah, it's an unlicensed bout.
Wow. So that's what
It's
I really
like a flat fight club sort
Yeah,
of
it's about-
bare knuckle improv. That would be something to behold.
Well, yeah, it's like, well, you're doing it in a room above a pub. It should be in the Backstreet. It should be under a flyover. That's where the
Yeah.
real improv action's going on.
Well, see, we might go across the car park across the road from the Miller and
Yeah,
do it there.
Yeah,
you know.
take it outside. Keep
know.
it real.
Yeah.
If it's on a stage, then it's just artificial.
I'll suggest that to you then.
Yeah,
next time I see her.
and also if you can't get a venue,
Yeah,
car parks are quite.
car parks. Yeah.
You've got somewhere to park. So
Yeah,
it's handy
that's
for the
true.
parking.
Yeah, nobody can park without actually being an audience member as well. So
Yeah.
we're going to have a ready-made audience. aren't we?
Yeah,
So
I've not really thought it through, but
you work on that idea.
I'm going to work on that idea. Yeah, no, because
Yeah.
I've got lots of spare time. I can devote to that sort of thing.
It's not wired. You're a very, very busy and important man.
Yes, I am. The thing with Fight Club,
Yes.
so I didn't watch it for ages because I thought, I don't really like fighting.
Well, that's probably a good reason not to watch.
Well, there
it.
was fighting in it, but it wasn't like fighting
No.
all the way through.
Have you read the book?
No, I haven't read the book, no.
It's a books by Chuck Palahniuk, and the funny thing is that the book is almost exactly the same
Really?
as the film, and it's one of the only times that I've noticed this. But he writes in a cinematic style,
Right.
because I've read a few of his books, and so I put, the screenwriter has an absolute easiest job in the world. Literally, just have to cut it up into dialogue and non-dialogue,
Yeah.
and it's all there for them, really. And maybe just add some, photographic instructions about angles and whatnot. But honestly, it's like a pissing easy job, really. It's a great book. His books are great, and it's a great film. Because it's more about psychology, isn't it?
Yeah.
And psychology is my bag, so
Yeah. No, it was a good film.
it was a very good one.
What's your favourite type of psychology?
Well, I'm studying health psychology
Right.
at the moment. I'm doing my master's.
What's that?
So health psychology is looking at psychological aspects to physical illness, and it can also be about prevention. So things like helping people give up smoking, improving their diet, encouraging them to do exercise. Those are it's quite a new discipline as well. It's only about 30 years old, which in the scheme of sciences is very young. So a lot of it is geared towards prevention and making sure people don't get ill. But some of it, the stuff that I'm interested in, is also about once you are ill, how the psychological factors can affect whether you recover at all or the progress of your condition as well. Because things like wound healing, they've found that psychological aspects affect how quickly a wound heals. in different
Really?
people, yeah.
Wow.
So there is a big connection that we haven't really got to the bottom of, that is about your mind, your attitude, your perception of the world, and the effect that it has on your body.
Wow.
Like things like, it can be quite serious effects as well. Like they've done a lot of work with cancer research now about survival rates and who survives and who doesn't.
Yeah.
And some of the differences are not necessarily straightforward in as much as it's to do with if you're more positive, you're more likely to survive cancer.
Really?
And it kind of is common sense in as much as if you're more positive, you're more likely to take your medication at the right time.
Yeah.
You're more likely to eat well. You're more likely to build social structures around yourself to help you cope with things, and thereby reduce your stress and do your exercise and help your immune system and all your systems that are under attack from cancer and from the treatment of cancer. So, very, very interesting stuff, really. But I've got another year and 2/3 to do on that because I'm doing it part-time. So come back to me. Again, like theatre sports, don't know as much as I should know about it. But will do imminently.
Yes.
Hopefully. I've got a stats exam in January.
Right.
Can I get a little bit of sympathy, please?
Yes. No. That was my.
That was a prompt.
That was my sympathetic face.
Oh, was it?
That was like.
Oh, see, again, emotional intelligence doesn't
Yes.
tell me
No.
what
This
your
is my.
face is
This
doing.
is my sympathetic face. This is my listening. It's like. Oh right.
Yeah,
okay.
second week in January. So
Yeah.
over Christmas, I'll be.
You'll be learning
I'll
about
be
how
learning
to do.
I can't look at you when you have that face. It looks like it's much worse than a stats exam. It's like I've got a really negative prognosis or something, and you're the doctor trying to make me happy.
That just means I'm taking it very seriously.
Yes. Oh, yeah. As you always do, sure. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. So, is there anything we can do to help with
No,
the?
see, that's the bad prognosis again.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
No, there's no pill I can take that can make me clever and pass my stats exam.
You're going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. You're going to smash it.
Thank you. See, that's the improv spirit.
That's right. Whoa,
Yeah.
you're going to power through.
Yeah, can't improvise the stats exam.
No, there are some things you should really prepare
Yeah, I think I might.
for. Yeah.
Yeah, stuff. Got to be done. That's the funny thing as well, is that we all have like things that are not improv. It's hard to believe, isn't it? I know. Well, not Steve Rowe. I think Steve Rowe just has improv, doesn't he? And that permeates his whole life. Although he has done like marathons and all that sort of stuff. He's not a guy to shy away from a challenge.
No.
Is he? Yeah, there are some lucky folk who get to, eat, breathe, drink improv, and the rest of us have to do other things as well.
Yeah, and I'm torn because on the one hand I think if I didn't have to go to work during the day, I'd be a really good improviser in the evening. I'd like be doing amazing stuff and have all this energy in it. It'd just be like pow. But I'm always tired.
Well, I don't know. I think, firstly, being tired adds a little something. Because I always rehearse after a day's work. And I always think on the way to rehearsal, thinking, oh God, I'm so tired, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I start the first warm-up, I'm like, no! Running around like a complete mad thing. I don't even moderate it. So it's not tiring because it's exciting, isn't it? But the other thing is, I think, and this differs from my experience of acting, is that because the community is so diverse and has all of these experiences that are not improv, their take on life and therefore what they put into improv scenes is different from what you might find in another discipline. Yeah. So it's kind of fascinating, I think. And the other thing that it reminds me of is that quite often I'll have known people years and years and I'll still not know what their job is. Yes. Because unlike a lot of other social sort of events, it's not necessarily the first thing you talk about. Yes. What you talk about is, oh great, you did that really great scene about Harry Potter and an elephant. And that was wonderful. And I really enjoyed, when you put on that mask and you were blah, you don't automatically say, oh no, I'm an accountant and I'm working on the Schrodinger account, and all that sort of stuff, because you close a box on it and disappears. Sorry, that was a bit mental and rubbish. It was.
It's good job we got me a headlock.
I know. You're going to edit that bit out, aren't you?
No, I don't edit.
Oh.
Because failing is an important part of improv.
It's true. I'm glad that I failed at least once in this podcast. Although I do feel like I failed about 3 times in this podcast.
You haven't failed?
Oh. Thank
think
you.
you failed.
You're very sweet. Or brought up failure quite a bit.
Well, yeah, but it's fine to discuss failure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Only before 11 o'clock, though.
yeah, exactly. You don't want to go on about it too much.
Yeah.
But I think it's something that we all have to deal with and face.
Of course we do, and we get better for it, don't we?
And I failed because it was something I was going to mention that you were talking about, and
Is it the unitard that's putting you off?
no, I quite like that actually.
I can change into something better.
Something less comfortable.
Could do. Could put my jeans back on.
Yes.
No, blank.
It's completely
what
gone
we were
now.
talking about? We were talking rubbish anyway. We were talking about failure. We were talking about theatre sports. We were talking
Feeling
about
tired.
feeling tired and working.
Yeah,
and doing
yes.
experience and stuff like that.
And then you were saying yes, and you were making the point that I was thinking about the fact that if you only ever do improv, if you only have improv as your experiences, then what are you going to put into the scenes?
Yeah.
And the thing I was going to say,
Right.
because it was
Better be good.
It's not that good, but I've remembered it.
Okay.
So I'm going to say it before I forget it, because if I
Okay.
keep doing this, I'm going to forget it again. That's going to be annoying. It's just what you were saying about not necessarily knowing, for example, what people's jobs are.
Yeah.
And it's weird because in some ways you know people quite intimately,
Yes.
without actually knowing
Yeah.
any actual details about their real life.
No.
Because you'll see them play, a really tender, emotional scene or something
Yeah.
like that, but you won't know
Yes.
how they spend their day or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? Because I think it's topsy-turvy in that respect, because you can get to the nub of really what a person
Yes.
is about.
Yes.
Because they're not having time to screen what they are
Yes.
on stage. And it's very enlightening, I think. And I don't think I've ever been in a class or performed or any of this without liking everybody.
See, that's funny. That comes up quite a lot.
Yeah.
2 or 3 people that I've interviewed have said that. And I always go, oh no, there are some people I don't like.
Right. Okay. That's just you know.
It might just be me.
You just come across the renegade ones. It might be the endorphins talking, of course.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe you've got an endorphin resilience, and so the chemicals don't kick in the same way every time with you.
Well, yeah,
But I'm
yeah,
still
maybe.
high from
Brilliant.
from the first time with Cariad and
You're
Steve.
obviously doing
Yeah.
improv right then, and I'm obviously doing it wrong.
I don't know. It certainly keeps me happy. And I have to say, you've always been happy whenever I've seen you doing improv.
Well,
so
that's because
those
of your
people
company.
You'll always be my Indiana
And
Jones.
you will always be my Marion. We should perhaps explain what that...
Oh no, I think leave people hanging. They can make between the lines.
that was my very favourite. I think that has to be my very favourite bit of improv that I've ever done.
Oh really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you told me that before. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's
think-
more for the listeners that I'm telling
yeah.
you. I presume
Oh.
you remember from the last time I told
I
you.
do. I do remember
Yeah.
the last time you told me that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it was.
You're gonna start me off.
It was in Katy Schutte's class, and it was my favourite exercise. I think it's probably my favourite exercise ever. And as I remember it, she said to everyone what to choose our favourite film, and then the instruction was because with improvised singing, it wasn't we weren't trying to do plot, and because these films already existed. The plot was already taken care of, but we had to take, various moments from the film and sing about the emotions from that. So yes, we did Raise the Lost Ark, and
I do feel like I made you do because you sent it to me and I listened to it again.
yes,
I do feel a bit guilty in as much as I think I let you do most of the work. My contribution seemed to be going Indiana a lot as I was getting carried away in a basket.
that was perfect for the role.
You're a true gentleman.
Well, but it turns out that secretly all I really wanted from life was to pretend to be Indiana Jones on stage.
You did it very well.
And thank you very much. You were a marvellous Marion. Yeah, I mean, in some ways that completed my life, and now,
Good.
you know,
You've peaked.
I've peaked. I don't need to try anymore because
shit.
I just, you know.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. We could do Temple
yeah,
of
we
Doom
should-
next.
The Muppets Christmas Carol, no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be good.
Okay, cool. We'll work on that one.
I think that's our show.
Oh, very good. That went very quickly.
Didn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
It's quite painless.
Yes. Well, that's my aim.
Oh, good. Yeah.
It's a lack of pain. Oh, it's a lack of pain for you, but obviously I'm still, you know, in a headlock.
Okay. Well, I'll let you go, maybe. In a minute.
Okay.
And then I can go and put some clothes on. I don't think yellow's my colour anyway. Oh dear. No, I am letting you go now. You're very short of breath. I am sufficiently emotionally intelligent to know that you have to breathe to live. So there you go. Is that a bit better? Yes. How many fingers? No, you got me to do it too. That's horrible. We are snorters, everybody. It's official.
I didn't realise that I did that. Just
You did it again.
so I started doing the podcast. I just thought I had
Every time you've snorted with others.
I didn't promise that you were the only person I was going to snort with.
Oh my
I didn't make that
God.
promise here. If I'd made that promise...
God.
No, you just made assumptions there.
I feel violated.
Oh.
I thought I was your only snorting partner.
You're my favourite snorting partner.
Oh, until next time, he says. Yeah, whatevs. Bruv. Ovs. Keep it together, man. You'll never be David Frost, you know.
No. You say goodbye.
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 I'm going to put some clothes on now. Thank you very much.
I made this.
Because I'm an avid student of podcasting, I've been watching a course on how to produce professional podcasts on lynda.com. You may not have seen an immediate improvement. You may not have seen an improvement. Follow us. Please follow us. Follow us on Twitter. It's at Improv London. And do also search for Improv London on iTunes and do leave us a review. I'm sorry. This is less a podcast and more a cry for help.
That's improv!